Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Tiny Room Battle Challenge 4. Second weekend. So psyched. We got the Pro Division and the Women's Division. I'm Daniel O'Neill, aka Guardian of the Disc, streaming live from Durham, North Carolina with none other than James Wiseman. What's up, bro?
Yo, Daniel, so happy to be here. Second weekend. We've had an amazing week here in Bowl City, freestyle, disc golf, getting all of our frisbee in. And we have just amazing matches today. I'm really psyched. We have been heatedly debating all week who's going to win these battles. I filled out my tiny room bracket. Make sure you go to tinyroomchallenge.com, pick your winners, get in the competition. I just can't wait. It's going to be a great day.
Shout out to Bull City. Durham is the new freestyle hub of the United States of America. Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you to all the Bull City jammers. If you get a chance, come visit Durham and jam with these guys. They're shredding. So, couple things that I want to talk about before we get started today. I think all the spectators at home got a chance to check out a very important new tool called Where is the Jam? So you can go to whereisthejam.com to figure out where on earth people are playing each and every day. It's a Telegram chatbot. So if you are a jammer and you want to announce that there's a jam happening in your city and invite people to play, use this Telegram chatbot to announce your jam. It's a great way for our community to stay connected, to understand where people are playing, and to be more inclusive and invite new players to join us.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We're definitely gonna have to log in after this to set up our jam today. I know we have Pavel Baranek in town. We're definitely gonna have a 6 to 10 person jam in Durham, North Carolina today. Words I never thought I would say. So I'm fired up, and you can always find it on Where is the Jam.
Cool. Yeah. I also wanted to hear a little bit about the Spin Factory. What is the Spin Factory?
Sin Factory, it's just been a albatross around my neck for a long time, and really trying to get out tutorials for all these years, and just kind of letting perfection get in the way of good. But you guys have been pushing me. I got a lot of videos in the pipeline. I think I got 10 or 11 filmed. Going to try to have them out every week or two. And the goal is over 100. So we got a long way to go, but we're going to put a lot of content out there. If you have suggestions, feedback, send them my way. Really new at this whole speaking on camera thing. I'm no Daniel O'Neill, but I'll get there. But yeah, I want to get out there, put some good content out, help people learn how to do this. And yeah, I hope it helps everyone out there learn some new cool stuff.
So if you want to learn freestyle frisbee, go to YouTube, subscribe to the Spin Factory. Over 100 YouTube tutorials on the sport of freestyle frisbee are coming your way. What an amazing resource. Thank you, James. I'm so excited for that. Okay, cool. So let's do some quick housekeeping with regards to the Tiny Room Challenge 4. First of all, got to do some thank yous here. Really big shout out to the FPA. Please join the Freestyle Players Association. It's the organization that makes all of this possible and that furthers the sport of freestyle. So join the FPA, please. Shout out to Frisbee Guru for helping us live stream this event around the world. I mean, we literally got people from every time zone on the planet tuned in, competing, watching at home. It's all possible due to Frisbee Guru. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Frisbee Guru. Huge shout out to Mystic, who's helped us with all the graphics, the great video and marketing materials for this event. And of course, this event would be absolutely nothing without our executive producer, Ryan Young. Thank you, Ryan, for everything you do. So let's talk a little bit and just go over the rules of the Tiny Room Challenge. Ryan, if you would put up on screen the bracket, let's take a look at it. So you can go over to tinyroomchallenge.com and fill out your own Battle Pass bracket. As you can see, these first round matchups, we have got 16 of the hottest pro freestylers on the planet squaring off. It looks like everybody's guessing at who's going to win these matchups. There's no huge favorites or very few of them. But the way this will work, it's 1-versus-1 battles. So just like March Madness, players will square off best 2 out of 3 for the first 2 rounds at least, and then we'll get into best 3 out of 5, best 5 out of 7 for the finals, which we'll see tomorrow. But you have 10 seconds to show off your hottest freestyle moves against your competitor, and our all-star team of judges is going to determine who did the hotter combo. That person will earn the point. So, did I forget anything?
Well, two quick things if people are confused at home. So there's two numbers you see for each battle. First, you see a percentage. So if you look at the top right now, Tom Leitner has a 90% win percentage against Florence Schmidt. I think Florence getting a little underrated there. He might give Tom a run for his money. These percentages are calculated by you guys at home logging into tinyroomchallenge.com and putting in your picks. So we really like to see that. Get out there and do that. But you'll also see these other numbers right next to the players' names. These are the players' ELO rating. So if you follow chess or some other sports, ELO ratings are kind of a way to measure someone's success in competition. So all the players start at an ELO of 400, and by beating other players, your ELO goes up. And when you lose battles, your ELO goes down. And right now, I think either Juliana or Tom Leitner has the highest ELO. They're in the 500 range, but the longer this goes on, we're going to see some people with some really huge ELO points, and this is going to be a great tournament to rack up those points. So viewers at home, go to tinyroomchallenge.com, check out these ratings. When you look, see if you disagree, make your pick, go against the ELO, and we'll see how it plays out.
So just looking at this bracket here, I'm so excited. We've got the reigning defending Tiny Room champion, Tom Leitner, versus Florin Felipe Schmitz, back by popular demand.
The first wild card ever in Tiny Room history. Just we could not do another weekend without seeing Florin Schmidt. I'm obsessed. He's got the tie-dye, he's got the baggy pants, he's got the floopy catch, aka Closet Guidus, aka Yeti meets Sasquatch. Like, I mean, there's some real moves coming out of Switzerland right now, and I can't wait to see what he brings.
So then you've got Micah Loop versus Dan Lustinger from Israel. Another close matchup, and it looks like this one could go either way. We've got Thomas Nutzel versus a legend in our sport, Jens Velasquez, Hall of Famer. We've got Dave Lewis, another legend, coming out of the woodwork. I can't remember the last time we saw Dave Lewis compete. So excited. He goes up against Jakob Kostel.
Tough battle.
Oof, brutal. Okay, then we've got Edo Turi versus Kim Larkin. Santiago Charco Sepulveda versus Dave Schiller.
Which I think is a little bit of a rivalry. These guys have gone against each other quite a few times now. I think Charco, does he have the edge, or is he trying to come back and show the sheriff that there's a new sheriff in town? I don't know.
Totally. Yeah, these guys have gone up. It seems like every battle, every tournament, they somehow end up meeting each other. So I know Santiago is hungry to take down the sheriff. Let's see if he can do it. We've got Mateusz Gajewski from Poland versus Eitan Ray Korin, the Israeli young junior dynamo.
Oof. I don't know who's coming out of that one.
That's a tough first round matchup, but and then rounding it out, of course, we've got our challenger champion, local Durham Bull City Jammer, Brendan Piercy will take on the number 2 seed, Francesco Santillane. Chesco has been so close to winning this thing so many times. I think this might be his weekend to get it done.
It really could be. I mean, I think he's got 2 or 3 runner-up now. I mean, he's got to be hungry, and I just can't wait to see what he brings today.
Cool. So let us now check in with our team of judges. We've got a team of 5 Hain judges that I'm so excited to present to you today. Let us first check in with, of course, our head judge, Freddie Finner from Berlin. What's up, Freddie?
Hey guys, nice to see you. Nice to be here again. I'm super thrilled after last weekend. That was amazing already. And now look at our field of competitors. It's going to be just amazing. I can't wait to start.
Cool. Thanks, Freddie. And that's right. Just a big shout out, of course, to not only Brendan, our challenger champion, but Tim Rohrer, Switzerland junior champion. Excellent work from Tim. Congratulations again on your performance last weekend. Let's check in with Emma Kale, my teammate, Seattle, New York Jammer. How are you, Emma? Where are you? What's going on?
Hey, Daniel, it's so good to see you. I am not in Seattle or New York right now. I am in California in Sequoia National Park. I hope my internet is all right and you can hear me here, calling in from the Wi-Fi that I have at the visitor center. So we're in the national park. There's not a lot of connectivity, but super excited to be here today. Had so much fun with the last Tiny Room Challenge, and I just am so excited to be here now. Thanks for everything you do to put this on. It's so much fun.
Ryan, did you say me?
Meat has been barbecued.
I think we got it.
Okay. Can you hear me, Ryan? Okay, so some slight technical difficulties there. Apologies, but we are back, ladies and gentlemen. So we just checked in with Emma from Sequoia National Park. She was able to get internet at the visitor center and join us as a judge. We're super thankful to have her. Multi-time world champion, Emma Kale, thank you for being on the panel. Let us now take it over to Brighton, United Kingdom, where we have Sophie Rickers joining us as a judge. Hi, Sophie. How are you?
Hi, Dan. I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. I miss you so much. I hope to get over to Brighton and jam with you soon. But we're so psyched that you're joining us. Thanks for
thank you so much for involving me. It's brilliant. Really excited.
Cool. All right. Let's take it over to Randy Sylvie, Rando Man himself from Seattle, Frisbee Guru, the man. What's going on, Randy?
Hey guys, it's awesome to be here. I am super psyched. I'm a huge fan of this format since the very beginning, so it's an honor to kind of even be partially involved as a judge. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm so excited that Dave Lewis is part of this. I mean, like, I don't even know the last time I saw him jam. So one of the matchups that I'm really looking forward to is that matchup with Dave Lewis and Jakob Kostel. That draw is insane, and either one of them can go through. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that battle specifically.
That one is worth the price of admission just by itself. Totally.
No
agree.
doubt.
Okay, so in our last judge position, we have a bit of a wild card here. We were supposed to have Jeff Felberbaum, Hall of Famer from the Netherlands, American, but living in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us, but we have in his place the Tiny Room 1 champion, el primer campeón de Medellín, Colombia, Pablo Azul. ¿Cómo estás, mi amigo?
Oh, muy bien. Vamos a tratar de hacer lo mejor posible.
Gracias para unir con nosotros y tenemos éxito. Gracias. Thank you so much, Pablo, for being here and judging with us. Cool. That's the judges. We've done our logistics. We're ready to start the challenge. So let's kick it off. We've got Tom Leitner versus Florin Felipe Schmitz. Florin, as the underdog, the bottom seed in the pro division, will have to play first. It's a best 2 out of 3 matchup. We need new moves, no repeated moves in a battle. Remember, if you win the first point, you will have to play first in the second point, and so on. So with that, let's kick it over to Bern, Switzerland, where we have Felipe Schmitz himself, kicking off the Tiny Room 4 Pro Division. We're so psyched to have you with us, Floopy. Let's see you play. Let's give him some music, Ryan. bummer there because we've seen him hit that upside down barrel catch. That's a signature floopy move, I would say, at this point. Unfortunately, it eludes him. Just those nerves having to kick off the tournament. Bummer, just slips out of his hand, but nevertheless, a decent display to kick it off.
Yeah, I really love his throw. You can see he's getting a ton of power on that disc right off the bat. And I like this old school two-handed turnover. You don't see it super often, but he's bringing it out and really going into an old school upside down barrel. We don't see that very much either. And I also love the floopy branding. I think he's got a floopy shirt on, and I definitely got to get me one of those. So pretty cool stuff.
Yes, very on brand with the keeping it with the tie-dye shorts and floopy shirt. So well done there, style points. Let us now go over to Rome, Italy, where we have Tom Leitner, Lightning Man himself, with the response. Tommy, let's see what you got, bro. We would expect nothing less from Lightning Leitner. What an awesome consecutive combo. And I'll just note that we can see, I should have mentioned this earlier, down in the corner, that 10-second timer ticking down. As we see here on the instant replay, Tommy just put so much content into this 10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he almost did too much, but it's Tom Leitner, so we know he's got a whole bag of tricks to dig into. But it's amazing when you see a player at this skill level, just he knows he's got a pretty cracked door after Florin dropped it, and he's just, oh, I'll go for my easy moves, but those are his easy moves. Some really great, a Tron pull, a pretty difficult like crank out into the invert hold, great triple fake catch. I think Tom's going to feel pretty good about that.
Awesome. Let's kick it over to Freddie to get the result of this first point.
Yeah, it was nice to see Florin just realizing that he has to play against Tom Leitner and just putting out his most difficult things that he could possibly do. It didn't quite work out for him this time, but it was nice to see him going for it. And Tom, as usual, just confident and solid, and that's why he earns the point for the first round.
Tom Leitner takes the 1-0 advantage. So Tommy, we're coming right back to you. You are up first here in the second point. Absolutely love the way Tommy sacrifices his body. Lovely back roll to the ground. I mean, we saw so much crash and burn from Tommy last Tiny Room, and I'm just so excited to see what we're gonna see today. Great tipping combo. Not consecutive all the way through. I mean, you could pick it apart if you were James.
Which I will. So keeping on brand, this is the pro division. This is Tom Leitner. I'm not going to let one of the greatest tippers this sport has ever seen get away with 3 tips and a little bit of a recovery. I mean, it's probably enough. We'll see what Florin pulls out here because he did hit that beautiful back roll, which is a very signature Tom Leitner move that kind of extends all the way down. But come on, Tom, I need to see more than 3 tips from you. I mean, this is Tom Lightning Leitner. Bring it out. But those tips are so and those are going up all the way above his head. They're so clean. There's so much spin in that disc. I mean, he's the man.
For me, that was a beautiful move. Let's see, Florin. You've got one chance here, dude. Do or die. You know what you got to beat. This is your chance to push a 3rd point. Let's see what you got. Oh, there it is! The floopy catch, and he sticks it. Absolutely no problem. So we see here on the instant replay, love the way he generates those Z's. Single spinning kind of the pull. But it's really the floopy catch at the end that's going to put a lot of pressure on the judges.
Yeah, it wasn't the cleanest move. I mean, he goes for the spinning pole, and there was a little bit of wobble. He kind of had to corral it in. But like you said, it's really about the floopy catch. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. I keep thinking the Zoom is freezing or something's wrong. It is very bizarre. My brain hurts thinking about it. And I don't know. We'll see what the judges say.
Okay, so heading over to Freddie Finner for the result of the second point.
I can just say, Florin, I can't wait to jam with you. There's so much potential. There's so much more to show. I'm very sure that you're going to be one of the very best players in Europe, in the world, whatever you want to achieve. This time, Tommy was just, again, more solid, even though James is right, but maybe it's just a smart decision to go a little lower in the first rounds. I'm sure we're going to see a little more difficulty, a little more consecutivity, and can't wait to see more. The point goes to Tom and the round as well.
Tom Leitner handedly wins this first round matchup, but Floopy, thank you for joining us again. What an awesome catch. You're playing great, dude. We're so psyched for you and the whole Swiss freestyle team. Bunch of shredders. We can't wait to see you back for Tiny Room 5. Thanks for joining us. Okay, moving right along, let's head now to our second matchup, Mike Galloop versus Dan Lustinger. This looks like a very close call. Our spectators at home are totally split on who's going to win this one. Mike Galloop will play first. So we're heading over to Seattle, Washington. The rain jammer extraordinaire, Mike Galloop, you are up. Oh my goodness, what a great first move from Mike Galloop. We talk about, so repetition, no, you can't repeat moves, but within one move, that kind of repetition for effect is exactly what it says. Very effective. It was a beautiful move, great variation on a theme. And what was that catch?
I think it was a spinning goddess. We might need to go back to the tape later on, really study it, dig deep. But what's crazy, we were just talking about spinning goddesses as this rare bird that is rarely seen, but there goes Mike bringing it out. And this battle is kind of upsetting. I mean, we've got two of the most solid Hain freestylers that are bringing it every single Tiny Room. They've got such impressive moves. And, you know, Mike had a very controversial runner-up finish in early Tiny Room, and he just keeps shredding and he keeps getting bad luck. But, you know, maybe this time that'll be different. But let's take it over to Lusty and see what he's got.
So huge pressure on Dan Lustinger after that move. Here he is from Tel Aviv, Israel, Dan Lustinger. Let's give him some music. Oh my goodness. Can you believe it? What a response. With all that pressure, Dan Lustinger just comes out of the gate with a huge combo. Let's look at the replay. He starts off with just a very controlled hold under the leg, but it's that part right there.
Fabio Sana-esque.
Skid out directly to the invert delay. So clean. Finishes with a gaitosis, I think.
Very rare to see the gaitosis. He also, we should mention, is in a very small room with a lot of obstacles and things that could go wrong. But this is what I love about Lusty's game. He has so much control. I feel so confident when I watch him play that nothing's going to go wrong. And boy, the judges have their work cut out for them. We saw a little bit more of an explosive move from Mike, but then we just see this perfect Fabio Osis-esque like control with the gaitosis. I mean, spitting goddess versus gaitosis. How are the judges going to weigh that? I have no idea.
This one's really tough. I'm hesitant to take it to Freddie this soon for fear that the judges may not have made their decision yet. But Freddie, what can you tell us about the judges' mentality here?
So far, the judges are pretty quick. This time, it took a little longer because we saw two Hayne moves. First, we saw Mike with he's an expert in the tiny room. He knows how to play in the tiny room. He knows what to do. I'm not the biggest fan of this little guided shootouts because it seems more difficult than it actually is. But it's fair enough to do it 3 times in a row. Come on. And the catch, shouts out to Ilka, spinning and reverse guidis, or I'm not familiar with the term you use, James. That was a Hayne move. But Dan came out with a super solid start and finished it with a flaming gaitosis. This is just, for me, my point went to Dan, and the other judges saw it the same way, so the point goes to Dan Lustiger.
Dan Lustiger, bro, congratulations. Great first move. You know what this means. You will have to play first here in the second point. Let's kick it back over to Tel Aviv, Israel, and see what you got. Oh my goodness, he's done it again, ladies and gentlemen. Just awesome spin. It looks so effortless when he throws it, but there was a lot of against the spin maneuvers here. Kind of Pavel Baraniuk-esque, speaking of the guest jammer in today's Durham scene. But oh my gosh, what a great turnover from Dan Lustiger. Sticks it with the Scarecrow, no problem.
Yeah, and I want to focus on the throw, like you said. I mean, that's a throw that can really eat people up in a tiny room. If there was a really high, very high spin, high angle set, a lot of things can go wrong there and go wrong in the worst possible way, but he controls it perfectly. And he just looks like he has ice in his veins. He just looks so calm, so relaxed. He made that move look so easy and put the pressure on. So, Mike, my man, let's see it.
Okay, Mike. Coming back to Seattle. Let's give him some music, Ryan. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I believe we just witnessed a third world set directly into the Scarecrow, meaning the Frisbee is rotating on a completely different axis than the normal clock versus counter that you and I mortals talk about. This was extremely bizarro world, and I'm not sure how the judges are going to view it.
It's so hard to judge. You just have no idea how to compare these moves. They're so different, and man, the courage to go for that with the pressure on, do or die battle, to just say, yeah, well, I guess I'll throw up a third world spinning Scarecrow. The chances of hitting that, to me anyway, seems so low, but Mike makes it look easy. Clearly he knows he has that in his bag. And this has been Mike's challenge. His moves are so unique and different.
And risky.
And it's just hard to judge. I don't know what the judges are going to think, but I'm just going to emphasize that move is hard. Like, oh my God.
So, I mean, regardless of which way this goes, both of these competitors have brought their A game today. Wow. Let's kick it over to Freddie to see what the judges think.
Oh yeah, that was a nice battle and even harder for me to judge than the one before. We've seen Lusty with a super solid move. He just knows what he's doing. He has even a little more tiny room than Mike has. And Mike answered with a move first and finishing it with a super Hayne third world Scarecrow, which is sometimes when you see it a little floppy. This was just perfect. I think the main issue was that it took him quite a bit of time to get there where he wanted. So he lost time. Lusty had quite a bit more content. and in fact more risk as well. That means that the point goes to Lusty, and congrats for the next round.
Thank you.
Wow. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Lustinger earns the spot in the quarterfinals where he will have to take on Tommy Lightning Lightner himself. Mike Galoop, amazing playing, bro. As always, love to see you in here. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next challenge, I hope. All right, moving right along, we've got battle number 3. Thomas Nutzel versus Jens Velasquez. This is a great matchup. Love to see it. We will start with Jens Velasquez. I'm not sure where in the world you are, Jens. I know you've sold a couple houses recently and been moving around, but where are you?
St. Augustine.
Oh, St. Augustine in Florida. Awesome. So the legend himself, Hall of Famer, Jens Velasquez, you are up first in this matchup. So if you're ready, we're ready for you. Let's give him some music. Such a bummer that escaped him because that was going in such a great direction. I love that helicopter throw that Jens does. And just in general, I feel like, you know, throw variety is something that there's so much more room to see more of that in our sport. Jens Velasquez is probably the best example of how to make throw variety look awesome.
Yeah, well, one thing I just love about this battle in general, we just have a quintessential old school freestyler versus a quintessential new school freestyler. So we're going to see very different styles here. Like you said, even just bringing out this old cool helicopter throw to start out, which is really hard in the tiny room because it's the kind of throw that really wants to lift, but he kept it in great control and it looked like it had a lot of spin on it. He got a lot of tips there before he lost it. Just couldn't quite reel it in there, but I think we'll see more from him in the next battle.
Okay, so doors open, but plenty of content. Thomas, you are up with the response from Berlin, Germany, Thomas Nutzel. Oof, wow. I mean, one thing you got to say about Thomas Nutzel's game is it's truly unique. I mean, the type of turnovers, the way he does the moves he does. I mean, this guy's game is unique as hell. Love to see this first move from Nutzy.
Yeah, this turnover is really subtle. I think a lot of players aren't exactly going to see what's going on because he turns it over kind of much further. I can't even describe really what's happening, but it is a bizarre turnover. You think you can do it, but I promise you can't. It's really Hayne. And I think it was a great strategic play here. He knew Jens dropped it. He hit the cool move he needed to do. And then he kind of went with an easy catch that he knew he would get, which not only gives him the catch, it is saving good catches for the next battles, which is super important.
Smart. Okay, let's kick it over to Freddie to see who won this first point.
I'm so excited about this battle. We're seeing a living legend, Jens Velasquez, and Thomas Nutzel, who's also a big fan of Jens, which I know. And I think it's an honor for him to battle against him. Also, Jens didn't quite get the move that he wanted, and Nutzy took the advantage and put out, let's say, an easy move with a confidence that he had to make the point. And yeah, that's what he did. The judges all agree. The point goes to Thomas, and we are looking forward to see the next round.
Okay, Nutzy takes the 1-0 advantage. So kicking it back to Berlin, Nutzy plays first on the second point.
What?
Okay, interesting strategic decision here. This is the kind of stuff that you like.
Judicious. I mean, he only had 4 seconds left. He might not have known exactly what he wanted to do right away. And I think he probably wanted to save a move for the next round. And I think there's an element of confidence in that too. If you think that maybe you have the edge, you're willing to take it to the next battle, holding back the moves that you need. But whatever he was going for, it looked crazy. I mean, one thing I love about watching Nutsy is I just never know what's going to happen. You just have no idea what he's about to try. Looked like a really cool move. I'm curious if he'll go for it again and how the judges will view that, but we'll see.
Okay, so doors wide open. Jens Velasquez, you are up here and can force a third point with a clean combo. Let's see what you got. Okay, this is a really, there's so much to unpack here. First of all, Jens Velasquez is showing us modalities and types of play that we have not yet seen in Tiny Room. Amazing props for the creativity. Okay, now let's talk about the time block. Jens went way over time and then ended up dropping it after. So he's going to get penalized for execution, and he's not going to get points for any moves he did after the 10-second block. Having said that,
he doesn't care.
Definitely did way more content than Nutsy does, so does it matter?
Probably not. I think he definitely showed enough to get through. And I don't know if he was thinking this or not, but I actually like the idea. You know it's wide open. Time to pull out all your weird, goofy stuff that no one's seen before. You don't need to hit it. You don't need to worry about if the judges get it or not. You're going to make it through just fine. But that was so old school. Like, I don't even speak that language. That's like reading Middle English. Like, I have no idea what was going on. There was some kind of weird arm plate, like waiter please move in there. Really cool, funky stuff. It's great to have such an old school legend in our sport here at Tiny Room Battle.
Way to go. We want to see more of that kind of play, Jens. I like it. So let's go over to Freddie Finner to see if this was enough to push a third point.
It was so nice to see a couple old school moves here. I think Jens has to get a little more aware of the time frame, especially when it comes to more difficult rounds. But Nutsy chose to give it away to don't waste any moves. So the point goes unanimously to Jens, and we're happy to see a third round.
Okay, very exciting. 1-to-1 matchup. It's a best 2 out of 3. So this point will determine who gets the spot in the quarterfinals. Jens, you just won that point, so you will have to play first. We need all new moves. You're up here in the third point. Let's give him some music. So once again, we see that awesome helicopter throw. Gosh, I want to learn that one. Unfortunately, this lacer pull kind of escapes him, and in a way that he just didn't really have much time or momentum to try to continue and push through to the end of the time block.
I'm still just thinking about that helicopter. It just looks so much like he's setting it for an overhand. He just kind of leans back like he's going to do that. And then he gets this helicopter, and just the radius on it is so small. It just instantly is spinning just in the air right above him. But the other cool thing, he missed it, but I love this really flat set into the spinning flaw. That's very old school, very difficult. It's a layer that new players everywhere should be working on. The flat set, very niche, very cool. Go get out there and do it.
Having said that, door is open with that drop. So Nutsy, you know what you need to do. You're up here in the third point. Final move we'll see here in this battle. Very smart from Nutsy. Uses the seconds he has left after the drop to just do a simple catch, seal it up behind the back right as the time's expiring. But let's take a look at that move right there.
So Haynes starts with the wiper set into this very funky roll upside down, super beautiful. I think Nutsy's either a firework or a hand grenade. There he's showing the fireworks. I think that's going to be enough to get him through the next round.
That might be a Mons venereal variation.
No comment.
Okay, kicking it over to Freddie for the result.
I'm a little sad that we have to kick out one of these guys. I would love to see more of both of them. But yeah, it was enough for Thomas. It was a smart decision, and the point goes to him.
So Thomas Nutzel earns the spot in the quarterfinals. Congratulations. And of course, thank you once again to Jens Velasquez, a true legend in our sport. Thanks for everything you do. And we'll see you in Tiny Room Challenge 5. Okay, so now let's figure out who will face off against Thomas Nutzel in the quarterfinals. This will conclude the top half of the bracket. So here we have perhaps the most anticipated matchup of the entire day, Dave Lewis versus Jakob Kostel. I don't know how many world titles Dave Lewis has, but I think it's double digits. The guy shreds. So from Los Angeles, California, let's kick it over to Dave Lewis, who will play first here in this point. Dave, if you're ready, we're ready for you. We're going to give you some music. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe it. We just saw 3 double spinning moves in that tiny room. And after watching this, I'm pretty sure I need to go back to my tiny room battle pass and revisit.
Yeah, I needed to change a lot of things right away. I mean, I knew Dave Lewis was going to come out swinging. I didn't know what it was going to be like for him in the tiny room. I didn't know how prepared he would be. Clearly, he's been jamming for 4 or 5 hours before this started. And one thing I love about this is new players out there probably know that combo from Jakob Kostel or maybe Claudio Chinia, but that is a Dave Lewis combo. I mean, that goes way back. These perfect, flat, controlled, double spinning pulls. It is amazing to see him still doing that. I had the pleasure of getting, I'll call it my post knowing how to freestyle jam with Dave Lewis maybe a year or 2 ago. He still shreds. He was kind of our generation's original tutorial. We all had Zen, but we also had, Pro Disc. I mean, it's amazing all the stuff we've learned from him and comes out shredding. So Jakob Kostel, I don't envy you. Let's see what you got.
From the Czech Republic, Jakob Kostel. So barefoot, Jakob Kostel goes for the seal. He does get that. We're going to give him that one mostly in time. I'm not sure how much credit he's going to get for that move at the end, but a few things I'll say. That upside down throw, just check out the Z's on this UD throw. Love that. He, I think, was trying to throw a little shade at Dave Lewis by going for the upside down spinning UTL pulls, but that second one just gets away from him, and I think they both dropped it, but I feel like Dave Lewis showed more content.
I mean, Dave Lewis said he got 6 spins in for Jakob Kostel's one there. And yeah, I agree. I was kind of hoping that Jakob was about to go for some UD double spinning pulls, which I know he can do. That would have been super hane and definitely enough to top Dave if he had gotten it. But there's the risk with going with that upside down route. Doesn't quite get it. And you better be careful about, hitting the bear with a stick, because if you want to go UD double spinning pulls against Dave Lewis, good luck.
Okay, so kicking it over to Freddie to figure out the result of this first point.
I mean, everybody who knows my game knows that I absolutely appreciate what Dave just showed us. And I also have to say, it's not the biggest tiny room we've seen. It's not the smallest either, but it is small enough to absolutely reward a double spinning pull and repeat it 3 times in a row. It's just amazing. I love it. I love that game. We've seen Jakub, who also has a pretty big tiny room. He had a strong finish because he decided to show something, but first he dropped it. It was not enough for the Lewis boom, and the point goes to Dave Lewis.
So Dave Lewis takes the 1-0 advantage, and we're kicking it back to Los Angeles, California. Dave, you're up in the second point.
Whoa.
Wow. So much, going for so much there. It seemed like each tip was a little higher than the previous one. I love to see that. Looked like he was going for a signature Oliver pass, and
Yep.
that's the move that got away from him in the end.
Yeah, well, if I pick on Tom Leitner, I got to pick on Dave Lewis because Dave is probably another one of the greatest tippers of all time. I think Tom Leitner and Dave Lewis are definitely making your top 5, top 3 all-time tippers. He gets 2 more than Tom Leitner, so we'll give him credit for that. But he also missed his last one a little bit, kind of had to corral it in. And his signature Oliver pull is what got him. But he still showed some moves, left the door open. I'm kind of glad because I want to see at least one more battle out of this. And I just have to say, if we get a battle, I don't want to go too far ahead here, but if we get a battle with Tom Leitner and Dave Lewis, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to absolutely lose it. But Jakob, make me look dumb. Let's see it.
Okay, over to Jakob for the response. Second point. Let's give him some music. Oh, wow. Absolutely chomps that scarecrow and kind of throws a little shade back at Dave Lewis because he uses that kind of similar. I'm not sure if that's Oliver, Olivia, bad attitude, but there's something about the way he skids this out under that leg there that's definitely in the same world of moves, but just super clean all the way through. No doubt in my mind that we're going to see a third point here.
Yeah, very signature Jakob Koshto. We have the amazing bad attitude work, the amazing scarecrow work. Really difficult behind the back crank turnover. Just super, super clean. And that's just what I say, you young players may not remember because now he's a father. He's got a lot of things going on. Jakob Koshtel has done as much for this sport in the last 10 years as anybody. So big shout out to him. So happy to see him and BB back competing. And yeah, he's the Hane. Awesome.
Okay, so kicking it over to Freddie to see if this was enough to push a third point.
I can't wait to go on. So let's make it quick. The point goes to Jakub with a Koshtel broom this time. Koshtel broom response. Let's see you next round.
Awesome. We love to see it. So exciting. 1-1. This is it. The third point that will determine the quarterfinalist. Jakob Koshtel, you are up first here in the third and final point. Wow, so we see Jakob go for the very risky locator pull. He does not get the locator pull. He does have enough time to pick up the disc and show some skills with the remaining time. The final flamingo coming just after time.
Yeah, I got to say, though, that flamingo was beautiful.
Yeah.
A really good extension on it.
Yeah.
We had a really awesome angle of it. So kudos, Jakob. That flamingo is going to stick with me for a long time. Too bad he missed that locator pull. That's the risk there. I think the locator pull, and for those at home, that's kind of a scarecrow pull. It can be especially tough indoors off your own set like that. The locator pull is a little bit easier when it's coming in off of somebody's throw and it's kind of floating down. You got a pretty big window. What Jakob tried is makes it a lot harder, and that's the risk because the disc really just wants to slide off your finger. But he did show some moves, and Dave Lewis has got to be thinking about what his strategy is going to be here.
Okay, so Dave, you had the advantage of seeing your competitor. You know what you need to do. This is it, the third and final point. You're up. Oh my goodness. Dave Lewis with just the Hane combo. We may have seen a double leg over as a repeated move in this battle. I'll need to check in with you on that. He goes about as much overtime as Jakob Koschel does, so that maybe is a wash. But I think the content that he was able to push into those 10 seconds far superior to what we saw from Koschel.
That was Hayne, but on second viewing, I've got some critiques here.
Okay.
The first half of the move was awesome. He goes for the first half of Twisto, goes into the invert. It's all very, very clean. And then he kind of goes a little bit into re-rev world. You can see the tiny room starting to affect him. He couldn't really deal with it just the way he wanted to. But he finishes after time with the kind of roll in the other leg. I think it's going to be fine because Jakob had a much worse drop. But Dave, I got to see more from you.
Oh my goodness.
I got to see more. This is the pro division. Let's go.
Brutal commentary from Mr. Wiseman, but that's what you get when you enter the pro division. We're here to heckle. You get what you get. Let's kick it over to Freddie to figure out the winner of this battle.
I actually agree with you, James. It was a little sloppy in the end. It was a super, super nice start from Dave with his, what was it? Don't even remember exactly what the move was, but it was an against move into an inverted skid shoot. Amazing start, then a little bashing and finishing after time. I think Jakub also finished a second after the time, but he had a much worse drop in the middle, or let's say in the beginning. So it was just enough for Dave, but I'm also willing to see more what he has to show in the next rounds.
Okay, so great matchup there. Congratulations, Dave Lewis. You pass to the quarterfinal where you'll take on Thomas Nutzel. So there it is. We've got 4 of our 8 quarterfinalists set: Tom Leitner, Dan Lustinger, Thomas Nutzel, and Dave Lewis. Without further ado, let's kick off the bottom half of our bracket. If you're just tuning in, it's not too late. Head over to tinyroomchallenge.com. You can fill out your own battle pass at home. We have now got the matchup of Edoardo Turri from Rovereto, Italy versus Kim Larkin of the United States. Kim will play first, so let us now head down to Florida. Kim Larkin, you are up, my friend. Smart stuff from Kim Larkin to add those speed flows. And again, I love where Kim's head's at. Starting with that kind of small pizza toss into a twirl, a turnover with 2 hands, and then to try and bash it once and put enough Z's on that to skid it. Just the idea to do that is impressive. Unfortunately, it didn't all work out for him, but some really impressive skills.
Yeah, I love how thoughtful Kim is. He clearly just really thinks about what kind of moves he wants to do every time he comes up here. You see that he's a seasoned competitor. He knew how to respond after the drop, and I'm excited to see what he has next.
Okay, Edo Turri, you are up with the response. First point from Rovereto, Italy, Frisbee Fever, Edoardo Turri. Let's give him some music. Oh man, very interesting here. I'm going to say that chair is after time. I heard the buzzer first. So we saw a double leg over down, perfectly executed until it seemed like it took him a couple seconds to try and get control of it right there. And that kind of cost him some time and maybe just took him out of that mental confidence that he needed to hit that ground guidus.
Yeah, I had all these notes prepared about how amazing Edo is, and he's my hero, and he's going to win and everything, but not the showing I wanted from him. But I don't know what the judges are going to do, because that opening double leg down was super Hayne. His legs are way up there, and his tiny room cannot be ignored. because not only is it very, very tiny, there is grandma's china in the background, just waiting to fall, crash. But Edo's going for these huge moves, doesn't quite get the guidance, had to corral it. I don't know. I don't know what the judges will do.
Okay, before we talk to Freddie, I would like to just check in with one of our other judges. Let's take a talk with Randy Silby. So if we can, I'd like to go over to Seattle. Randy, just give us your thoughts on what we've seen so far today in all the battles.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think can be highlighted is the nerves that actually come into play, because you're like sitting there watching, all of a sudden it's like, okay, here's your 10 seconds. And it's like, so, I realize just how much of an impact that's having on people, and I'm watching it take effect. But what Edo did, or Edo, I think he'll go by either one. But that double leg over cross down was definitely enough content for me to give him the point.
Great observation there, Randy. It's so true. Everybody's on their Zoom, tuning in from all parts of the world. They don't know when it's their turn. There's this anticipation. And then all of a sudden, you've got one chance, one throw, 10 seconds. It must be really hard. I'm glad that I'm not the one under the gun right now. But a great first showing from both competitors. Let's kick it over to Freddie to see who won this first point.
It's so nice to see Kim again and again, starting with an upside down pediddle start. He turns it over, and with just one brush, he was gonna go into the skid. That's super, super hard to do. So I really appreciate the try, even though it didn't work out. Ada was going for a big double down. Also, even though he didn't finish his move quite how he wanted it, it was enough from the level of difficulty to beat the first move that we've seen from Kim. But I want to see more. I'm excited to see more of that pediddle and crazy old school stuff from Kim. Let's see the next round.
So Edo Turi edges out the first point. He takes the advantage and will now play first. Let's kick it back over to Rovereto, Italy. Oh my goodness, $1, $1. Wow, great combination from Edo. I love his pace of play. So clean, just really strings these moves together with very little pause in between. Just a really beautiful combo and beautiful form on that flawed, just full extension through the body. Not a lot I can say bad about that combo.
He is amazing. Now I can whip out all my notes about the greatness of Edo Turi. I'm glad we got our titles in, because Edo Turi is going to win the next 10 world titles handily. He's also doing as much for the sport as anybody right now. So many new players in Italy. We saw a lot of them in the junior division last weekend. So shout out to Edo and the whole freestyle frisbee Rovereto scene for the amazing stuff they're building there. I mean, just when they came out of the woodwork, we were all like, who are these guys? They're unbelievable. And that's the Edo we all know. Super clean, super confident. Looks like he's bulking up, getting a little bit of the strength, and I'm terrified to know what he's going to do with it. But awesome, awesome move. Kim, man, time to pull out whatever you got in your bag of tricks, because that was a heinous move from Edo.
Okay, pressure's on Kim. Do or die here to push a third point. Let's see what it is. Shoot. Okay, I really like the idea. He goes for the upside down roll and tries to just pop enough spin to back on it to get it onto that pediddle delay, something in between even. And he actually looked like he was going to get it, needed to control it with two hands, and then it kind of just all fell apart.
Yeah, not the move he wanted, but, kind of what Freddie was saying earlier, it's hard to really recognize how difficult the moves he's going for are. I mean, to take it in on a pediddle off of that UD roll like that is super hard. And I think a lot of freestylers know this, but we forget it, and probably a lot of people at home don't think about this. When the disc is not spinning very much, everything is 10 times harder. And Kim is a real master at doing these very low spin moves, but they're super high risk. So when you see those drops like that, that's the cost of going for those big moves like that. But don't get it wrong, that move is super hard.
Okay, so let's kick it over to Freddie to find out the result of this point.
Thanks, Kim, for hearing me, for showing us another one of these old school moves with the padiddle stuff. I really, really like it. I really appreciate it. But Edo, come on, guys. Are you kidding me? Edo is not only one of the nicest guys I know, he's also one of the very, very best players in the world. And that's what he just showed. He's not only super good in the park, he's also great at the beach with strong wind, and now he shows us again that he's a master in the tiny room as well. Can't wait to see more. The point goes clearly and unanimously from the judges to Edo.
Edo Turi with a very strong showing here in the first round. He will easily advance to the quarterfinals. Thank you, Kim, for participating. We'll see you in the next challenge. So now let's figure out who will face off against Edo in the quarterfinal. Will it be Santiago Charco Sepulveda or the sheriff himself, the winningest freestyler of all time, Dave Schiller? Let's get down to it. Santiago Sepulveda will play first. Él es el único jugador de Colombia en ese torneo. Santiago, vamos, hermano, es tu hora de jugar.
Claro que sí. Sure. Give me just 1 second.
Okay, he's setting up his tiny space. It looks like an outdoor tiny space, but I do like the way it's well defined. Here he is. Let's give him some music.
Whoa, what?
Whoa, okay. So he gets in the catch at time. That was the first time I think we saw anything attempted with 2 discs here in the Tiny Room Challenge 4. I mean, he gets them both spinning, but then they both fall away. So that's got to be counted as like a double drop, huh?
I'm so glad he dropped that. If he had done what he was trying to do, I would have shut off the stream, kicked you out of my house, locked myself in, and you guys would not see me for 3 to 4 years while I figured out what voodoo that was, because that was looking like
don't
the
say that
most
because I'm
heinous,
really gonna do
crazy double disc move I've ever seen against a lot of moving parts. Thank you for dropping that. I'll sleep better tonight. Whew, but I also do want to see it because that looks super heinous.
So here's the replay. We see him throw the first. He throws the second. It's on that
Whoa,
grapevine. He's
whoa.
trying to grapevine one while going behind the back with the other. And it's at that moment they both slip away from him. That might prove costly. Let's take it over to the sheriff himself, Dave Schiller from San Diego, California. You are up with the response. As we see him hold the scarecrow, just left one thing behind. It was the disc, but at least he owned up to it, not trying to hide that he dropped it there. But a veteran move here goes with, some flat work, some under the leg pulls. It's just the scarecrow that eludes him, but for my money, that's going to be enough to win that first point.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm also really encouraged by this because I think we've seen Schiller struggle a little bit in the tiny room, and he looks so much more cool and controlled right now. He might have also given himself a little more space, which is a good thing. Before he was in the tiny room of the tiny room, it was not enough space, but he looks really confident out there. And I think that was a smart move. He knew that the door was wide open. He's holding back some of his bigger moves. And can we just talk about these legends that we have, especially from this just golden era of the 90s where we have Dave Lewis, Dave Schiller, and Tom Leitner. I mean, who knows? I think they won every world title from like 1990 to 2006. So really awesome to have them here.
Absolutely. Okay, so let us now help me. Where are we?
Freddie Finner, tell us who won.
Thank you.
Yeah, the judges struggled actually because we all loved what Santiago tried to show us. He didn't quite get it. We would love to see stuff like that. It was actually more risky. It was more unique. And yeah, just a super nice idea, but he just didn't get it. Not all the judges agreed, but even though they've dropped it, it was just a cleaner start, and in total, with one drop less, yeah, just the very tiny little better move, but we want to see more of both of them. Let's see the next one.
So Dave Schiller takes the 1-0 advantage, going right back to San Diego. Dave Schiller, you're up first in the second point. Whoa. Oh, man. Love what he's going for, though. I just gotta say, Dave Schiller is bringing the heat. Unfortunately, once again, the catch is what eludes him. A spinning Tron, or not Tron, what do you call it?
Like almost flared. I mean,
Flared.
It's the tiny room that got him again, right? Because here we have one of the best beach jammers of all time. I've seen him catch that a million times, but he's used to being able to give himself a much flatter set. And he kind of ended up in the corner there, had to set it really vertical and really close to his body, which made it just about impossible to catch, and he couldn't quite get it. But he showed us some good moves. He got a lot of content in there before the drop. So the door is open, but there's definitely a little bit of pressure here.
Okay, so let's kick it back over to Santiago for the response. There it is. That's the Charco that we've been waiting to see. Just very, very cool, calm, and collected. He knew what he needed to do. He got it done. Nice form on that grapevine. This may be enough to push.
I think it'll be enough.
point.
He's so springy. He's just got so much power and speed and movement. It's really exciting to watch him play. I almost think he did too much. I mean, he didn't need all of that, I think, to beat the Sheriff. But that's telling you how heinous that move was, because there was a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Bad attitude hold, nice tipping combo, seals it up with the figure four. Great job, Charco. Let's kick it over to Freddie.
Yeah, second round from San Diego to Santiago. They started nicely and didn't quite get the catch. It was a super nice attempt. I love that move. And Santiago took the chance. He went for a solid move. He was confident this time. He caught the disc and he makes the point. So let's see a third round.
I love to see it. Once again, it comes down to the third and final point. Charco, you are up first. Let's see what you got. Oh, man. He didn't get the guidance at the end, but wow. Love the springiness, to your point, the way he jumps into the air for those guidus pulls. He did 3 guidus pulls, kind of like Mike Galloop, but twice as good. The way he jumps up and just jumps into those, really, really hame, misses the catch and knocks off the other disc in the process. Oh boy.
I can think of at least a few judges who might dock him for that second disc hitting the ground. But that is a just absolute signature move from Santiago. But kind of what you were seeing, that's the best I've ever seen him do it, which is not to say he hasn't always done it hame, but he was so high, great angle. And there was this moment where I almost thought the disc was dragging on the ground, and he still shot it through. Really cool, but he missed that catch, which might come back to haunt him. So let's take it over to the Sheriff.
Very interesting strategy here. So Dave Schiller in the garage. Let's see what the Sheriff has in store for us. Absolutely, Hayne. You can see from his body language that he likes it. I love the variety. Packed a lot of different styles of play into this 10 seconds. Spinning UTL pole upside down. Then he goes for the behind the back two-handed turnover, Laird's kick, another turnover, counter roll. A lot of content there.
So I don't know what I think, because objectively there was a lot of Hayne moves in there. But to me, it almost wasn't as exciting, though. They were kind of a little disjointed. I think the Sheriff was being a little too judicious. He really wanted to make sure he was ready for the next move. But Santiago dropped it. So, I mean, maybe that's just the easy tiebreaker. But I'm very curious what the judges will think. I might be totally wrong here.
It's going to come down to, I mean, and there's always this in freestyle tournaments. How do you weigh execution versus excitement, artistic impression? How does that hang in the balance? Let's find out. Kicking it over to Freddie Finner for the result.
Oh yeah, the judges struggled with this one. We've seen Santiago with his, as you said, signature flaming guided pulls 3 in a row, and then he missed the catch. And then Dave Schiller, by the way, it warms my heart to see him, to see the garage, to see the place. I would love to be there again as soon as possible. Yeah, we've seen 2 moves that are really comparable from the level of difficulty, but Schiller just executed it a little better with finishing it with a roll catch, which is an easy finish, but it was safe in the end. And that's why he got the point.
Oh, yes. There you
guys,
have it. The Sheriff, Dave Schiller,
guys, thank you so much.
advances to the quarterfinals. And with that, all 3 of our legendary 90s studs,
Bravo, Charco.
Tom Leitner, Dave Lewis, and Dave Schiller, advance to the quarterfinals. Super exciting. Let's go right ahead now to the matchup of Mateusz Gajewski versus Eitan Raykorin. Oh my goodness. Can't believe these two have to face off in the first round. 2 young studs in our sport. Let's see. We've got Eitan Raykorin playing first. So heading back to Tel Aviv, Israel, Eitan looks ready to play. So Eitan, if you're ready, we're ready for you. Let's give him some music and see what he's got. Oh my goodness. Let's go. You can see with his body language, he's psyched. That might be the heinous move we've seen today, but he does it so casually, so effortlessly. You might not know how difficult these moves really are. And that, for example, that heel tip on the camera shy side, we almost didn't get a chance to see it, but I noted it, Eitan. Lovely kind of bent over scarecrow. Interesting form on that, but I love it. That's just a hand move from Eitan.
But there was one key problem, which is that his spinning scarecrow came after the time, which might haunt him, because this is going to be a super close battle. But Eitan is a fierce and terrifying competitor. He's gone really far in this format many times. He's the Terminator. He seems to never drop it. He has super hang moves, and he put a ton of content in the 10 seconds, even if his catch came a little bit after time.
Well noted. Okay, so let's now go over to Poland. Mateusz Gajewski, you are up with the response. Let's give him some music. Oh, yes. Love it when we get to see some hot counter, high Z stuff like that. That's just a great move to put the pressure on the judges, really, because he goes for the spinning scarecrow in your face, similar catch to Aton. And so, really, I mean, if you evaluate the content in the middle of these combos, they're both super valid. I don't envy the judges on this one.
This one's tough for me, and I almost feel like I'm picking on Aton. I don't know why. He's one of my favorite players, but I like that Mateusz did a lot of the same moves, but he kind of just compressed them and made them more consecutive, and they flowed together really nicely. He did have a little bit of a pause as he corralled it in for the set for the UD Scarecrow, but he got his UD Scarecrow in the time, and it was kind of one of those Mike Loop spinning scarecrows where I think like his 2 or 3 fingers got it, but he still even held the disc up. It was really sweet and Hayne. But, you know, like you said, I think kind of the X factors that Aton got that really Hayne little kick tip in there. But I don't know. I mean, I always like these kind of flowier consecutive moves that are a little shorter, but I don't know if the judges are going to agree with me.
Okay, let's kick it over to Freddie and find out.
So we have a split decision here. The judges don't all agree. We have 3 points and 2 points. I mean, it's kind of unusual to see Aitan with his long breaks between the moves and extending the time, because usually he knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows exactly how long he's going to need for it. This time it was a little bit different, but still a very nice and Hayne move. And Mateusz just went smart for a very smart answer and went with the same catch with a spinning scarecrow, and he caught it as well within the time. So this might be the reason why Mateusz got 3 against 2 points for Aitan.
Super close. Oh my goodness, my heart's beating fast. But there you have it. Mateusz Gajewski with the advantage. Great move, bro. We're heading back to Warsaw, Poland. You are up once again here in the second point. Shoot, so it gets away from him really early in the time block. He was smart enough to pick it back up, but then drops it again with that standing Gaitis. If I'm Aton, I'm thinking I don't got to do much to push a third point, and I'm probably going to try and hold back some of my moves for later rounds.
But if I know Aton, he's going to do a really Hayne move right now. I don't even know if he's watching the stream. He just waits to hear his name and just does a Hayne move. So let's see what he does.
So kicking it over to Tel Aviv, Israel, Eitan Ray Koren with the response.
No. He can't believe it. He can't believe it. I mean, that's going to be enough. I'm not worried about it. He hit some cool moves, and I'm glad he went for the Grapevine because I think he's got a lot of cooler catches. The Grapevine's a great catch, but I think he did save a little bit, showed us enough to get the point. And there's this nice risky business factor. Like, where are his parents? What is he doing? It's the middle of the night. I don't know what's going on over there in Israel, but I love it. I'm glad he's here. And this is a sign of a true freestyle. You drop it, which we do all the time. And yet you still can't believe it. How did I drop it? I've never dropped a Frisbee.
Great move from Eitan. Let's kick it over to Freddie to see if it's enough to push a third point.
I was actually expecting exactly what James said, that he doesn't watch the stream, that he's just waiting for his name and going for a super Hayne move. But no, he knew exactly what happened before. He was going smart, and you could see that he was like embarrassed of his drop, or with kind of his easy version of how to finish a move. But still, it was enough for what Mateusz showed us with the double drop in the whole sequence. And yeah, we're happy to see a third round.
Okay, so man, we really need to see the biggest, best moves here in this third and final point. Eitan, you are up first. Third point. This is it to make the spot in the quarterfinals. Let's see what you got. Shoot, so on my stream, I just kind of missed the end of it. I have a feeling he went for like a kind of vertically half upside down set into a Gaitis and caught it.
I think so, and I do think he caught it. This is a pretty signature Eitan move. There was a little interesting thing there under his legs that I couldn't quite make out what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's a Hayne move and the pressure's on. But, you know, I'm going to put Eitan in the class of the Leitners and Lewises of the world. I need to see more. I know that Eitan has a much deeper bag. And if you get through this round, Eitan, you're going to have to dig just a little bit deeper for me.
That was a great move. I think you did a great job putting the pressure on. Mateusz, you do know what you need to do to beat that move and earn a spot in the quarterfinals. You're up, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Shoot, that is not going to be enough from Mateusz. Not at all. So how do you still feel that way about Eitan's move now after seeing that? Because he executed. He did what he needed to do to put the pressure on Mateusz, and it got to him. And here we see 2 drops again in that 10-second time block. Eitan's going to easily pass.
Here's my tip to all you players out there that are reaching the higher echelons of freestyle. When you're as good as Eitan, it's not just about winning, it's about winning the right way. And I know Eitan can do much Hayner moves because I've seen him do it. I would never want to battle him myself because I'm pretty sure he would just kick my butt. And man, you got a lot of competition, Eitan, and I'm calling you out. Bring out those big moves that I know you have and show the world that you're ready to win Tiny Room because I know you are.
Okay, let's go over to Freddie Finner and get the official result from the judges on this battle.
Even though the stream was a little sloppy when Eitan played, I knew exactly what he did because we know his style, we know his moves, we know how he plays in the tiny room. That was a solid move. He hit the upside down Gaitis, and he absolutely earned that point against the double drop from Mateusz. It was a little unfortunate, but Eitan earned it very well. Let's see more from him in the next rounds.
Congratulations, Eitan Raykorn, repping Israel and earning Israel and the Israeli Jammers a second spot in the quarterfinals. Congratulations. And Mateusz, bro, we know you got better than that. I'm so psyched about your game and to see the Polish Jammers just flying to the moon. We can't wait to see you in the next challenge. Thanks again for joining us. Okay, one more matchup here in round 1. Brendan Piercy, the challenger champion, versus Francesco Santolin, your number 2 seed from the Frisbee Temple in Milan, Italy. Brendan, you will play first, so let's kick it over to Duke East Campus. Brendan, you're up in the first point. Let's give him some music. Oh, yeah. Way to go, Brendan. Adds in that extra flumingitis at the end of the time block. He did have one flub. I will say that he did pretty good to not let it disrupt the flow too bad, just continued on. But if we're being nitpicky, I will say that there was kind of a 0.2 there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he definitely flubbed it in the middle, but there's a great lesson in there for new players. He really responded very well and very quickly, and it didn't break up the flow, even though there was that drop. So when you're out there and you make a mistake like that, if you have a way you can save it without breaking up the flow, go for that. But there's the risk too. You don't want to add another drop on top of your first drop. And it's great to see that Flemingitis. That's a super hard move. I know he's been working on it for a while now. Very risky, but I'm almost a little nervous. He just brought out a Gaitis and a Flemingitis in his first move after a drop, and he might wish he had those later. But I think Brendan knows that he's going up against Santiago, who's been
Francesco.
Francesco Santolin, who's been a multi-time runner-up, and did he maybe even won? I don't know. He's always in the finals, so Brendan knows he just has to bring it because Santiago has moves that just
Francesco.
Chesko has moves. I know who I'm talking about because I'm picturing in my head this Tom Leitner kick and the kick, but Chesko, you know.
Chesko has not yet won a Tiny Room Challenge. He seems like he should win. Like, he's so good. So let's see. Did he bring his A game today? Let's kick it over to the Temple.
Whoa.
What a gorgeous Tiny Room. Thank you for inviting us into the Frisbee Temple. From Milan, Italy, ladies and gentlemen, Francesco Santolin. Let's give him some music. Oh yeah, great foot cuff over. Ends it with the Flamingosis. So this was a really great play from Francesco. This guy's got so many tools in his bag, so many tricks in his arsenal. He's planning on going very far in this tournament. So I know he's saving some great moves for later on, but this is just a great way to kick it off.
Yeah, the scary thing is we know that's him going easy. He took 4 or 5 seconds, hit his move, gave a little, "Are you not entertained?" and sat down. So super awesome move. I love that foot cup. Also, the Frisbee Temple in Milan, I've got to get there. It's really awesome. But I will have a little critique here. That's a big room. That is a big room that may come back to haunt him later if there's a close battle. But there's also a big advantage there. And, he's the man.
Okay, so let's kick it over to Freddie Finner for the result of the first point.
Wow, what a nice battle. Brandon, that was so cool. And if I were a judge in the usual tournament, I wouldn't even have given you a 0.2, but only a 0.1, because you made it so flawless, right into the catch, right into the toss into the catch. And then you added a catch that is probably not of your easy repertoire, but one of the more difficult ones, because you knew who you're gonna facing, and that was Francesco, who just went crazy again. I think it's the third area of the Frisbee Temple where he shows moves in the tiny room, the third tiny room. So it might be a little bigger than in another round, but it's another one again. It's a variety move. I think that's what he wants to show us. He showed us, I think, a foot cuff turnover. Come on, are you kidding me? The point goes to France. Very well earned.
Francesco Santolin takes the first point and the advantage. No surprise there. Kicking it back to the Temple in Milan. You're up first in the second point. Okay. Wow. So that double leg over directly into the kick tip, that's a 9 on the diff scale by itself. Amazing helicopter throw. Unfortunately, it seems like the easy part that got away from him. He does do these 2 quick catches. That last one is I guess you'd call that twisted turkey right at the time block. So great smart play from Francesco, but he does show his mortality just a bit.
Yeah, I put him in the category of firework or hand grenade. That was a little bit of both, but I actually really respect the twisted turkey he threw in there so casually. He hit it so softly. It just looked like a really easy catch for him. That is not an easy catch. Not many people do that. And man, the height he got on the double leg over kick, it came up so clean. We can't really hear on the stream, but I know if you were there in person, there would be a pop on that kick. So awesome move.
All right, so Brendan Piercy, you know what you need to do. Do or die. This is to push a third point. Let's see what you got. Great stuff from Brendan. What I love about this is he stayed within his game. He didn't try to do something he wouldn't be able to do. He said, listen, let me do my very best and put all of the pressure on the judges. He does two equally great, equally consecutive combos with two beautifully executed catches with really nice form.
Yeah, this is interesting. It actually reminds me of the great battles we've seen with Kuba and Chesko. Obviously, Kuba has a lot more skill than Brendan does at this point in his career, but you just have this really smooth style where there's just a level of difficulty. It starts there, it ends there, it stays there. Whereas Chesko is just peaks and valleys, just these huge moves that make no sense. And then, some other moves that maybe aren't quite at that level. And it's hard to judge. It's really hard to know what to do, especially when you throw in the execution error like we saw from Chesko. But really exciting battle, and I'm especially looking forward to when these guys meet again in a few years when Brendan might be able to put up a bigger fight.
Okay, so let's take it over to Freddie Finner. Right now, Francesco has the 1 point advantage. Did he win this battle, or did Brendan do enough that we'll need to see a third point?
Wow, we do have a split decision here. We have 2 points and 3 points. I mean, Brandon is just great. You've been playing how long? I don't know, like a couple months, not even a year. And you're showing up like a pro here in the pro division. That's where you belong, I guess. And I can't wait to jam with you. Francesco, I mean, you're just special. You do moves nobody else does. And you do it the way nobody else is able to. And even though there was a little mistake in the middle, that was enough. Brendan, you don't have enough of a skill level yet, but you will be there soon. I'm very sure it wasn't enough this time. Congrats to Francesco. Can't wait to see more.
There you have it. Francesco Santoline, the number 2 seed, as expected, earns the spot in the quarterfinals. Your challenger champion, Brendan Piercy, goes home empty-handed, but great playing, Brendan. We can't wait to see what your future titles hold. You're an awesome player, so we'll see you in the next challenge. So right now, we've got 30 minutes left, and I want to get through as much of this quarterfinal as we can. Let's now go to the matchup of Tom Leitner versus Dan Lustinger. Here in the quarterfinals, once again, we'll be doing best 2 out of 3 matchups. So Dan Lustinger, you play first. Let's kick it back over to Tel Aviv, Israel for the first point. Way to go, Dan. Love to see this guy's just fierceness on the field. He's going up against Tommy Lightning Leitner, but you cannot see any fear in that guy's face. This is a great first move to kick it off. Let's check out the instant replay.
Yeah, I mean, I have to think that Tom Leitner is a little scared seeing that his matchup is against Lucy, because Lucy's going to bring it with this consistency, and you can't hope he's going to drop it, because that's just not going to happen. And he does that amazing move that just seems to be really common in Israel somehow, which is the UD crank out into the invert. We see 2 UD tips which makes them much harder. I'm probably going to pick on Tom later, so I'll pick on Lusty. He had to corral the second one a little bit, but he still got a great catch, good extension on a flamingo, and I think he's going to be really happy with that move.
Okay, so Tom Leitner, you are up here with the response in the first point. Oh yes, huge moves from Tommy. I think he definitely won up the number of tips that he did from the last time. He goes for that crash and burn bad attitude right at the edge of the time. Just so confidently done. What a veteran. Wow, this is going to be a really tough decision for the judges.
Yeah, I really like it. I think he's throwing me some shade, showing me how good his tips are. I know. Really clean move. I think he's purposely using that strip of carpet to give him an even tinier space. Also think it's smart. He knows he's going to be crashing and burning, giving himself a little bit of an easier fall. Super hand move, classic Tommy, and I think it's going to be enough.
Let us take a look. Let's check in with Freddie. This is just the first point. So who did the judges want to give this first point an advantage to?
What a nice battle in general. I love both of these guys. They're so nice guys, both of them, and both of them have such a high skill level. Yeah, as you just said, Lusty just went in there super confidently and just hit his move no matter what comes. But Tom, just as confident as Lusty, went for his move with also recognizing what James said in the earlier round, went for a couple more tips, even with different hands and all restricted. The whole move was super consecutive and restricted, and he earns the point for the first round. Tom
Leitner takes the 1-0 advantage. Tough luck, Dan. That was a great first move. Good try. But Tom Leitner, you've got the advantage. You are up first in the second point. Let's give it music. Oh yes, once again from Tommy, just showing us the depth of his game. Tron pulls on both sides, a lot of pulls, and that beautiful extension on that lacer, admittedly just after time.
Yeah, the lacer was out of time. I think it was. It's such a cool way he held it. I can't tell if it's like a bird peacock variation or lacer, whatever it was. It was super hang. But Tom, I'm building a rivalry right now between host James and player Tom. What was up with that little handoff there in the middle? You're going up against Dan Lustiger. He is hungry. Come on, man. Show me more.
Oh my gosh. James is extremely biased. That was a huge move from Tommy. Way to lay it down and put the pressure on. Dan Lustiger, do or die situation. You are up, my friend. Let's give him some music. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
He does it again. We saw maybe this exact combo from Dan's last battle, but I cannot believe he hit it again just as cleanly. Beautiful under the leg hold, skid out to the invert delay, and then this final part stabs that flamingitosis and pulls it off the ground. Way to go, Dan.
I mean, the hard thing when you go against Tom Leitner is a lot of players, even your best heinous combo is just not going to be enough, but not the case for Lusty. That is a super hang combo. I'm glad we got to see it again, proving that it wasn't a fluke. It's so clean, and it's hard to beat a Gytosis, especially when your catch is after time. And I hope the judges agree, because I really want to see a third point between these guys.
Yes. This was super close. Well noted that unfortunately Tom's catch was a half second after time. impossible to, it's really hard to gauge that as a competitor. Anyway, great move from both players. Let's kick it over to Freddie. Did Tom Leitner take the battle and the semifinalist position, or do we need to see a third point?
I agree to you, Daniel. It was a super, super hard move from Tom. But I also agree with you, James. Tom is the master of consecutivity and restricted moves in a row. Why this giving the disc from one
Freddie,
finger
laying
to
it
the
on.
other?
Thanks, buddy.
That was kind of a break in the middle of the move that kind of interrupted the whole thing for me. But it was still high level. That's no doubt about it. And Lusty was not impressed, it seemed. He just went for his move. He knew what to do, and he just was riding on the edge of risk the whole time and finished it with a flaming gaitosis. I think even though it was a hard, strong move from Tom, Lusty earned that point, and we can see third round.
Absolutely agree with you, Freddie. Great moves from both players. What a great battle we have here. 1-1. Dan Lusinger, you're up here in the third point. We need all new moves. Just as a reminder, let's see it. Oh, yes. So once again, we see Dan Lusinger has been preparing for the Tiny Room Challenge. He's been putting together his combos, and he's ready to execute them on command. Once again, great Pavel style, swinging, sweeping moves, some against the spin aspects to it, and a beautiful turnover. Ends with a really nicely executed scarecrow. Pressure's on.
Yeah, it's super hang move. I don't have a lot to add, but I almost wish he went for the spinning crow, because when you're up against Tom Leitner, you really want to have just every little extra bit of juice you can find to put the pressure on. But the pressure is on, because that was a super hang move, and let's see if Tom can respond.
Okay, pressure's on, but doors open. Tom Leitner, you are up in the third and final point of this battle. Oh my goodness! Tom Leitner refusing to lose. He does not want to go home. He says, I'm the champion. It's my time to shine. And he does just that. Let's take a look at the instant replay.
I'll say right off the bat, I think this is going to be enough, which is crazy because Lucy hit an insane move. There's kind of two parts to this move. That's my only critique. There's a super hang consecutive beginning, a little bit of a break, super hang consecutive ending. But these bad attitude shoots he's doing, the way he puts the moves together is crazy. But what really does it for me is the risk level. And that's something that I really like to see. I think it's kind of a more old school game, old school being the 90s or 2000s, and new players, I really want to see more of it. But he's putting the disc in the air.
Yes.
He's rolling, back roll, chest roll, consecutive. But wow, I mean, I have to say, I don't know what's going to happen, but Lusty has come out every Tiny Room and just hit every move, and they've all been super hang. And I feel like he just keeps running into these buzzsaws like Tom Leitner. But let's see if the judges agree with me.
Okay, Freddie, what can you tell us?
Wow, what a battle. That was just worth a finals. Come on. That was strong. I mean, Lusty knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly how long he needs for a combo. He was, as you said, prepared for the Tiny Room. And Tom, I mean, I don't know what to say. He also just knows what to do wherever he is. and he just upped the risk level to match and even exceed Lusty. And that's why he earned the point for the third round.
Tom Leitner is your first semifinalist. Well played, Tommy. Congratulations. Keeping the dream alive to defend here in the Tiny Room Challenge Pro Division. Congratulations, Tommy. Dan Lustinger, we cannot say enough good things about your game, bro. You shred. Thank you for being here. We will see you at the next one. Moving along, let us now turn to the matchup of Thomas Nutzel versus Dave Lewis. So, Dave, you will play first. Let's head now to Los Angeles, California, and give my man some music. So many great pulls there from Dave. You know, I fear that even if he didn't drop it, he was going to play over the time. So this is just a coaching note to Dave to keep really close in your mind that 10-second window, because you'll only get credit for the moves that you do in those first 10 seconds. Showed a lot of great skills, but then kind of a lousy looking drop at the end.
Yeah, I wonder what his strategy here was. I don't know what Dave's knowledge of the current game is and what he knows about Nutsy and what Nutsy can bring, but I kind of feel like he was playing it a little bit safe, going for a lot of these under the leg moves that he's going to be really comfortable with. But of course, when he tries to mix it up and add a little more difficulty with what I think we call in New York the Phil Rizzuto, it just kind of comes off his hand, happens to everybody. It was a little bit late. So the door is open, but he did put a lot of content in that move.
Okay, so Thomas Nutzel, you are up for the response in the first point. Ooh, this is going to be really interesting. I mean, I'm happy to say that this is one of the first times in this tiny room where we're really looking at two bad drops that we have to compare. The play has mostly been really well executed all day. But here we have two players, both of whom dropped it, and dropped it pretty seriously. We see Tanuzi go for this Mons venereal inverted roll. I think he was trying to get down the delay. It wasn't there for him. So he ends up kind of brushing it around. So there's a 0.1 there, and then the drop at the end. Oof, I'm not sure which way this one goes.
As Henry Kissinger once said, here's a battle I'd like both sides to lose. So I don't know what to do here. I actually think if Nutzy hadn't gone for the second scarecrow, he might have had enough, just because the move he did show was so cool and unique. I mean, I wish he hadn't had to go into the bashing, but just the whole wiper into the roll is really hanging. And you know, Dave Lewis is almost making it look too easy. He's doing a lot of these under the leg pulls, kind of has a bad drop. But I think if I had a gun to my head, maybe Lewis. I mean, he showed a little more. He only had the one drop, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Really tough decision for the judges. Let's take it over to Freddie.
Oh yeah, I mean, after we've seen Dave's very first move of the day, it seemed a little easy how he started, but then he put it so full of things, like the whole sequence was just packed. Then he pushed it a little bit too far, so he dropped it in the end. From Thomas, we saw the move he didn't get before. It's a super nice and unique move, and it's a special Thomas. I know Thomas very well. I know how honored he feels to play first against Jens and now against Dave. It's just great to see this battle. In the end, he didn't get the move quite how he wanted, and it was enough for Dave this time, but I think he needs to push it a little more to go for second point against Nutzy, because he's hungry.
Okay, well said, well said. So Dave Lewis, you have the advantage. You now play first here in the second point. Oh my goodness, how does he drop that? So we see double spinning pull, single spinning pull, then another double spinning pull. He goes for the double spinning catch. I mean, I'm dizzy just watching this guy. Oh, unfortunately, he drops it at the end, but a lot of great content there. I think he definitely heard your and Freddie's, feedback and is definitely pushing the difficulty. So major props, great move from Dave Lewis.
Yeah, and he also went a little bit over time, although it doesn't matter much because he dropped it anyways. But you got to remember, what did he do in 10 seconds? He showed us 5 spinning pulls, very consecutive, very clean. But, I just got to say, it's tough in the tiny room where we just saw a battle where Dan Lustinger catches it 3 times on Hayne moves and gets knocked right out. And then here we are getting a lot of drops in this battle. But Nutzi, the door is open to push it to 3. Let's take it over to you.
Okay, Berlin, Germany, Thomas Nutzel. Okay, so wow, so some really bizarre turnovers. The disc might have been turned over 3 or 4 times in that 10-second window, but there was a major flub at the end of this combo. 5, 4, 3, 2, right here. Bam. Right as the time's expiring, that behind the head catch will be after time. So I'm not sure.
All he had to do was catch it. He had some really cool moves of rare hitch over. These UD turnovers like this are so hard to do, especially indoors. I think he had enough, and then he flubbed it. And, I just got to go back. Dave Lewis, he dropped it, went over time, but his drop was much cleaner. It fell out of his hands, and he did a lot of doubles, but it kind of just hurts. I just wish I just feel like
Okay, we definitely don't have time to,
okay.
By the way, for anything funny. No funny business.
No funny business.
We need a result, Freddie. I'm looking at you.
You're gonna get your result. I mean, Thomas's creativity is just huge. Everybody knows that, and it's always fun to play with Thomas. It's always fun to watch him. It was not enough against this monster move from Dave Lewis. Congratulations to be part of the next round.
Dave Lewis, so in possibly his first tournament in a decade, has just busted right through 2 rounds and is in the semifinals. He will go up against Tom Leitner. So
oh no.
Tom Leitner versus Dave Lewis in the semifinals. We will see that tomorrow. So let's get through these final 2 battles. We might run just 5 minutes over time, but I think it's worth it. Let's get down to it. We've got Edo Turi versus Dave Schiller. Dave, the Sheriff Schiller, will play first. Let's go over to San Diego, California, and give my man some music. Not a strong showing from Dave Schiller there in that first move. He drops it early and it kind of escapes to the edge of the garage in a way that takes a couple seconds to actually pick it back up and get going again. And then he goes for that spinning scarecrow after the turnover, drops that as well. If I'm Edo Turi, I'm thinking, let me just do something really simple, not show too much, just enough to win the point.
I agree. I think we saw a little bit of nerves there, just trying to get loose when you haven't played for a while. But we know he'll come back swinging. So let's take it over to Edo.
It's not a 1-point battle. So Edo, do what you need to do here in the first point. Okay, good move from Edo. Also, there was an execution error there, but he went for the spinning scarecrow and caught it. Possible throwing of shade there at Schiller. I think it'll definitely be enough. But we want to see better from both players.
I'm just glad Edo dropped my move because it just makes me feel a little better. Like, I still have one move on Edo for at least another 30 seconds. But I think it'll be enough. Let's take it over to Freddie.
Nice battle. Two of my favorite players on the planet. And I think Edo was actually going for a simple scarecrow. Then he realized, oh, damn, there was a mistake in between. Maybe it isn't enough because Dave showed something before. And then he just went for an easy spinning scarecrow, which was definitely enough in the end to win the point.
Okay, Edo Turi takes the 1-0 advantage. So Edo, you will play first. Let's kick it over to Rover Edo. Point number 2. Beautifully done from Edo. Nice double spinning catch, but really the part of that move I love the best is that double leg over directly into the invertele. You see it here. Wow.
His feet are going above his head. And he's also just one of those players who doesn't even look like the disc is spinning. It just looks like it's obeying his will. I mean, especially on that kind of like crank out through his leg. The disc just doesn't wobble. It doesn't move. It just looks like he's moving it with his mind. Big double in the tiny room. We don't see that a lot. Man, I don't envy the sheriff right now.
So Dave Schiller, the pressure is on. You're up here, do or die situation here in the second point. Let's see it. That totally would have been enough. It was a great move, but unfortunately he drops it, and that very well ends Dave Schiller's run here in the Tiny Room Challenge 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad he got a little better move here. We saw all the skill that Dave brings to the table. Doesn't quite get this spinning guidance here, and I think Edo's going to win it handily.
Let's take it over to Freddie for the official result.
Yeah, it's world champion skills against world champion skills. That's for sure. Edo just executed it better. It was super solid and confident. And I'm happy to announce that Edo will move into the semifinals.
Absolutely. Edo Turi earns the semifinal position. We will see him again tomorrow. And thank you, Dave Schiller, for competing in this event. Let's take it now to the final battle of the day. We've got Eitan Ray Corin versus Francesco Santolin. Eitan, you will play first, kicking it over to Tel Aviv, Israel. Let's give him some music. Oh, yes. Wow. Great move from Eitan. So subtle. What was he trying to do? He uses his foot as a lever to help cuff over the disc to an upside down position. But actually, then it didn't go all the way upside down. I'm not sure if he got what he was going for, but whatever he did, he kept it consistent. He kept it moving. He hits a highly vertical UD Gaitis and puts a lot of pressure on Francesco here in the first point.
Yeah, he went for this graph turnover, and it's really crazy to see it barefooted because you have so much more friction when you put your foot on the disc like that, and to not just immediately kill the spin. I don't know how he did it, but he didn't quite get it the way he wanted, I think, and he also kind of had to do a bash or two to keep it together, but like you said, it flowed really well and was really smooth. He got the catch, and the pressure is on.
Yeah, and just a unique move. So love to see it. Francesco Santolin, you are now up with the response.
Wow.
Oh. So the Flamingos is just escaping Francesco's hand at the edge of the time limit, But wow, look at this foot cuff over. It's like taking Eitan's foot cuff over and taking it to the next level. Then he does this benign hand twirl. Francesco never ceases to amaze me with how much risk he's willing to put out there.
Yeah, boy, this is going to be a tough one. So like you said, I think that foot cuff really is to another level because it is so much riskier. The Eitan cuff over is actually kind of a slower one where you can really control it. It didn't quite get it, whereas Chesko's, you just shoot it out, hit that disc, pray that it turns over. It does. I love those benign moves, very old school, very hard, very risky. But it's going to be a little bit of a philosophy question for the judges because I think not only did Chesko have the drop go after time, he had a little bit of a flub there in the middle too with a little wobble, but his risk and difficulty was better. So I don't know how the judges are going to view it.
Okay, kicking it over to Freddie for the result here in the first point.
Super tough to judge, super hard. I love to see how Eitan goes for strategy. I mean, as I said in the earlier rounds, he knows exactly who he's gonna competing and how his opponent is playing. So he needs some creative stuff, and that's what he was going for with his foot cuff turnover graph style thing, whatever that's called. And Francesco answered it as well with one of his unique foot cuff turnovers. There was a little bubble here and there, and he dropped it in the end. So for me, it was a super tough decision. We have a split decision by 3 points and 2 points, and the 3 points are earned by Eitan.
Eitan Ray Corin with execution edges out Francesco Santoline. I'm getting really nervous. Okay, 1-0 advantage for Eitan. Once again, you will play first here in the second point. Let's give him some music. This next level control from Eitan Ray Corin, that's old school stuff. Those type of UD.
No. That is not old school. Find me a player in 1979 who's doing a UD amphibian crank out. That is really hard, and that's what I was talking about earlier. That's the kind of move I know Eitan can do. I think he realizes now he has to bring that out. He's going against Chesko, but he did go a little bit over time, got the catch after time, but I don't think he's going to be really upset about it because most of his difficulty was before time. Very clean, very hard. Let's take it over to Chesko in a do or die battle. Wow. Oh,
no. Okay, let's all go home. I can't believe what we've just witnessed. Francesco Santoline has done it again. There is not a single other human on the planet Earth and probably the universe who could recreate this move. Just absolutely epic. Goes for the knee tip around the world kick tip. There was an indigenous pole. He finished with the monster. That is going to win.
Wow. So, I mean, I don't really know what to say. He's a monster. I mean, after last Tiny Room, I went in the lab and I worked on all of Chesko's moves. And I got to that move. I tried it 5 times and I just thought, okay, no, forget it. I don't need to learn this. I don't want to learn this. It's impossible. And that was only one part of several amazing things he just did. And I can't believe that Eitan's move is about to lose. I mean, wow. So, Freddie, take it away.
Wow, Eitan, what a great control. I have to agree with Daniel. It reminded me to the earlier days with a control upside down. Shout out to Jason Salke. That's what I thought about. And then he finished it as well. great control, super confident. That's what we know from Aitan. And then Francesco, I mean, guys, that was a 12. That was unbeatable. And all the judges agreed this move was unbeatable. The point goes to Francesco.
Francesco Santolin does not disappoint. We are here. It's 1-1, the final battle of the day. Tiny Room Challenge 4. I'm so excited. We've just seen amazing play all day. It comes down to this.
I can't believe one of them has to go home.
It's so sad. These competitors have just put everything, their heart and soul and skills on the line for us all. Thank you to everybody for being here. Let's see the final point. We've got 1-1, Eitan versus Francesco. Chesco, you will play first in the third and final point of the day. Whoa. Oh, another great move, and this one's so unique. I've not seen this from Chesco. So he does the behind the back tip and then is able to around the world kick tip it. Just the way he puts together these tipping combos is so unique, so risky, so difficult. I can't believe it. The twisted turkey, we saw him catch it with such ease in a previous battle. It escapes him, and of course, that leaves the door open for the cold-hearted killer, Eitan Ray Corin. You know what you need to do. You are up in this third and final point. Oh yeah, nice move from Eitan. Wasn't maybe the heinous move he showed us today, but it was really well executed with no execution error that I could point to, really. Great turnover directly into the invert delay. Shows us that UD triple fake. Nicely done. This is going to be really, really challenging. Once again, coming down to how do the judges hang in the balance? Perfect execution versus excitement, risk, the crowd's jaws. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish Eitan had given us just a little bit more. Like maybe if he got the guidance, it would be just a runaway win. He probably has no idea what we're saying on this stream, and he's not listening to any of my great advice. But I think it could be enough because we saw in an earlier round, maybe even between these guys, that the judges here seem to really favor execution. So I don't know, but I just want to go back to something Freddie said. Chesco has unbeatable moves. It doesn't matter if you're Tom Leitner or Dave Lewis or Jens Velasquez. He's got unbeatable moves.
It's so
what
true.
What do you do about that? But let's take it over, Freddie, and see what the judges have to say.
Wow. I have to say, Eitan, and as you said, Daniel, the cold-hearted killer. that's a great expression to describe him. Strategy again. He knew Francesco dropped it. He doesn't have to pull out everything he got, but maybe you should listen more to James. Pull out everything you got if you play against Francesco, because that was a move which was just too insane. The risk factor was insanely higher. And even though he dropped it in the end, it was a move nobody else in the world could ever repeat except himself. The point goes unanimously to Francesco Santolin.
Francesco Santolin. One of the first times we've seen the risk being rewarded over execution. Two amazing players with amazing moves. Congratulations to both of them. Eitan, I'm so heartbroken for you. You're such a shredder. You hit everything. You did your job. You did everything you could do. It wasn't enough. I'm so sorry, buddy. We will see you in the next challenge. You rock. Francesco, there's a reason that you've made the semifinals here. Your moves are a cut above the rest. You've earned it. You are in the semifinals. So here we have it. We will see tomorrow Tom Leitner versus Dave Lewis and Edo Turi versus Francesco Santolin. Those are your 4 pro semifinalists. I'm Daniel O'Neill with James Wiseman. We are signing off here from the Tiny Room Challenge, and we will see you all tomorrow, 12 noon, for the Women's Challenge and the epic finale of the Pro Division. See you tomorrow.